While House of the Dragon Season 2 finale left some fans disappointed with its cliffhanger ending, the show is still one of the most popular TV series to debut since the conclusion of its predecessor, Game of Thrones. One thing about the sequel series that most fans would probably agree upon is the show's exceptional fights and battles between humans and, occasionally, dragons. Although many House of the Dragon fans thirsted for dragon versus dragon combat when the series debuted, war-mongering characters like Criston Cole quickly guaranteed that warfare would spread throughout Westeros. Though the worst is yet to come, House of the Dragon's first 2 seasons have already yielded several memorable fights. 10. A cocky prince is defeated by a low-born knight. Season 1, Episode 1. The Heirs of the Dragon. The very first episode introduces the audience to the brutal world of Westeros with a high-stakes joust. Daemon, known as the Rogue Prince, is a force to be reckoned with, and his cocky attitude of the tournament reflects his larger-than-life character, but it's Criston Cole who steals the show. Watching him charge a demon and take down the prince in a deadly display of skill is a moment that immediately sets him up as a fan-favorite knight. When Criston knocks him off his horse, Daemon angrily demands to continue in one-on-one combat. While Daemon seems to have the upper hand, Cole doesn't give up and quickly has a rogue prince on his back. Daemon grins before he casually says, "I yield." This scene intercuts with Queen Aemma's labor, which makes it all the more heartbreaking after Aemma dies during birth. 9. The clever tactics of the Crabfeeder Against Daemon. Season 1, Episode 3. Second of his name. The third episode of House of the Dragon opens with the crab feeder nailing one of Corlys' sailors on a post while a crab feasts on his body. Later on, Daemon appears on Caraxes attempting to lure Drehar and his pirates out of the caves which the dragon can't access. In this clash, Daemon taunts Drehar with provocative comments, but the crab feeder is not taking the bait. Archers at Daemon with an arrow in his chest, and Caraxes, who shares a close bond with Daemon, screeches in anger and pain. Up to this point in the series, traditional Targaryen warfare remained mostly shrouded in mystery, making this battle one of the most memorable in House of the Dragon Season 1. 8. A brilliant but reckless plan ensures Westeros' victory. Season 1, Episode 3. Second of his name. When Viserys offers help to Daemon to deal with the pirates and the crab feeder, Daemon decides to take matters into his own hands. He pretends to surrender to the crab feeder and his men, but it's part of his plan to lure the pirates out into the open. A pirate approaches Daemon to take his legendary sword out of his hands when Daemon suddenly stabs him in the chest. Then he goes on a wild, suicidal mission and hacks through the pirates while avoiding many arrows aimed at him. Finally, a few arrows hit him in his leg and chest. Just when it seems like it's done for, Corlys Velaryon and his men show up to back him up. Laenor aids the troops from above, burning down the archers on sea smoke. The battle reaches its bloody peak when Daemon storms into the cave the crab feeder disappeared into. Shortly after, Daemon emerges, dragging the crab feeder's upper body along in a moment that cemented the Targaryen prince's place as one of the most dangerous figures in Westeros. 7. Criston's rage leads to the fall of an Honorable Kingsguard. Season 1, Episode 5. We light the way. At Rhaenyra's pre-wedding celebration, Joffrey Lonmouth, Laenor's lover, has a private word with Criston Cole after he figures out that he is Rhaenyra's paramour. He suggests that they, Criston and Joffrey, should protect Rhaenyra and Laenor's secret. It's a quiet, calculating conversation that's as much about understanding the stakes as it is about positioning themselves. But for Criston, Joffrey's word triggers something much darker. Criston Cole is already struggling with his guilt over his affair with Rhaenyra, and hearing Joffrey speak so casually about the lie that binds them together feels like a betrayal. Without warning, Criston explodes. In a fit of rage, he attacks Joffrey, pummeling him with brutal force. When the camera closes in on Joffrey's face, he looks as horrifically mangled as Oberyn Martell in Game of Thrones. 6. Favoritism unmasks the truth of Rhaenyra's infidelity. Season 1, Episode 6. The Princess and Queen. Rhaenyra's and Alicent's sons are training in the courtyard with Cole supervising the training. When Harwin Strong remarks that Rhaenyra's sons could use some instruction, Cole decides that Jacaerys, the oldest son of Rhaenyra, has to face off against Aegon, who towers over him. As the fight goes on, Cole pushes Aegon to fight harder, coupled with a sense of cruelty. While Jace is no match for Aegon in terms of size, there's a spark in him that refuses to be dominated. He fights back with all his might until Harwin Strong pulls Aegon off Jace. Criston Cole then antagonizes Harwin by saying that his interest in the prince's training makes little sense unless one would be the brother, father, or son. Harwin loses his temper and beats Cole to the ground in a moment that ultimately seals Harwin's fate later in the series. 5. The sins of the parents lead to dire consequences. Season 1, Episode 7, Driftmark. The Driftmark family drama introduces a whole new level of chaos to Game of Thrones narrative. Aemon, having just claimed Vhagar, mocks Baela and Rhaenyra, who are upset about him claiming their mother's dragon. The girls jump Aemon with the help of Jace and Luke, but Aemon is stronger than all of them. He threatens to smash Luke's face in with a rock and calls them bastards, prompting Luke to slash Aemon across the face. The Kingsguard finds them and brings them before the king, but not before Aemon's eyes lost and Alicent demand for retribution. The situation escalates when Alicent grabs Viserys Valyrian's steel dagger and rushes toward Rhaenyra's son to do the deed herself. Rhaenyra stops her but accidentally receives a cut on her wrist. This entire fight sequence with the children and later the adults was an effective nail-biter and further divided the two sides of the family. 4. A staged fight for Lena's freedom. Season 1, Episode 7, Driftmark. The fight between Laenor Velaryon and Khal Corey is far from the most epic, dragon-filled, blood-pumping battles in House of the Dragon. That said, it's still compelling in all the ways it needs to be because it's orchestrated to sell Lena's demise. In Season 1, Episode 7, Daemon approaches Khal to partake in a fixed fight with the goal of helping him escape with his lover, Laenor Velaryon. At the same time, Daemon kills another darker-skinned man to throw him into the fire, passing him off as Laenor to set him free. At the end of the episode, the audience finds out that Laenor and Khal escaped Driftmark and got to live a free life in Essos, and although the means to this end were brutal, they did lead to one of the happiest endings for a youngest generation Game of Thrones dragon aren't slaves. Season 1, Episode 10, The Black Queen. In the Season 1 finale, Rhaenyra sanctioned Jace's plan to let him and his younger brother Luke fly out on their dragons to treat with the Baratheons, Starks, and Aryans in the name of their mother. But the audience can't help but feel a little uneasy, seeing young Luke leave on his tiny dragon Caraxes. When they arrive at Storm's End, Luke spots Vhagar behind the castle. Aemon has arrived before him. After a short exchange with Borros Baratheon, who refuses to support Rhaenyra, Aemon approaches Luke aggressively, demanding an Arya's payment for his own. But Luke refuses. Borros intervenes and has his guards escort Luke out of his castle. Luke takes off on Caraxes, but Vhagar flies overhead, demonstrating the significant difference in size between these two dragons. Aemon starts taunting Luke, using his dragon to intimidate Luke and Caraxes. Luke navigates Caraxes between the narrower crevices of the mountains where Vhagar can't fit. But moments later, Caraxes attacks Vhagar out of fear without Luke's command to do so. Vhagar, now equally annoyed, goes after Caraxes, ignoring Aemon's commands. And just when the audience thinks Luke and Caraxes have escaped, Vhagar appears with a sneak attack and chomps Caraxes in half. 2. The Cargill brothers both perish in a heartbreaking duel to death. Season 2, Episode 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel. After the Greens usurp the throne, the Cargill brothers are divided. Eric believes he needs to serve the new king, while his brother Eric believes that Aegon is not only a terrible human being, but also not a rightful king. After he successfully sneaks out Viserys' crown, he goes to Dragonstone and swears fealty to Rhaenyra. When Daemon hires Blood and Cheese, the assassination attempt on Aemon unexpectedly results in the murder of young Prince Jaehaerys, Aegon's son. Meanwhile, Criston Cole manipulates Eric, gaslighting him into going to Dragonstone to kill Rhaenyra while posing as his twin brother. Eric almost succeeds but is spotted by Mysaria, who alerts the guards. Eric aids Rhaenyra and is forced to fight his twin. The fight goes on for quite a while with the brothers being an equal match. During the fight, they also express their love for one another, which makes this entire scene all the more heartbreaking. Finally, Eric lands a killing blow and stabs his twin in the chest. Horrified and unwilling to live with the burden of having killed his twin, Eric falls onto his own sword to die. 1. Carnage at Rook's Rest, the death of two legends. Season 2, Episode 4, The Red Dragon and the Gold. The greatest fight in House of the Dragon is, up to this point, its most politically significant. Rhaenys and Meleys flew to Rook's Rest to defend Lord Staunton's keep, and ended up in Criston's trap. He had Aemon and Vhagar camouflaged in the forest in case the Blacks attacked. However, Aegon and Sunfire show up unexpectedly. Beforehand, Aegon has a tense conversation with his mother, Alicent, who essentially tells him he is worthless, leading to Aegon's drunken flight on his dragon, Sunfire. When they arrive and see Rhaenys and Meleys burn down Cole's army, Aegon tells Sunfire to attack, but Sunfire is no match to the fierce and experienced Meleys. When Vhagar and Aemon finally appear, Aegon is relieved, but moments later, Aemon commands Vhagar to burn Aegon and Rhaenys. Aegon is closer to the dragon fire and fall from the sky on the severely injured Sunfire. Rhaenys and Meleys had several opportunities to flee, but chose to stay to fight Vhagar. Ultimately, Vhagar wins when she ambushes a duo and grabs Meleys by her neck. A moment later, Meleys and Rhaenys fall from the sky, but not before exchanging one last heartbreaking look.